Quote of the day: the world feels lighter when you let yourself laugh, even in the middle of the storm. Joy isn't the absence of chaos, it's the music you decide to dance to anyway. The joy of the Lord is your strength. Nehemiah chapter 8, verse 10. That is your quote of the day. Now let's get right into this video. Now, on this week's episode of Smackdown, we only got four matches. Four matches this week, and that was it. And I don't know if this has happened before, if this is a new thing, or this has always been a thing, and I'm only noticing it now. But like I was watching the show and I was thinking, man, this show flew by, and we saw a whole lot of nothing. Then it finally hit me. I'm like, dude, how many matches do we even get tonight? And then I started counting down, and I noticed it was literally only four matches, and I'm like, what's this nonsense? Like, okay, we only got to see four matches, but what else happened on this show? I don't even know, dude. This was such a waste of time. Man, this review does not need to be long at all, so let's just get right into what happened, because it was a whole lot of nothing. Trust me. Anyhow, though, we started the show off with a Solo Sikoa and an MFT's in-ring promo. Solo basically comes out and he talks about how he stomped on everyone who's ever stepped up to him, Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, Jacob Fatu, and even Sami Zayn, who decided to get involved in his business. He had to go to Raw and, sort that whole issue out, and Sami Zayn got stomped out. And then Solo Sikoa just proceeds to issue out an open challenge saying, anybody backstage, if you want to get stomped out by, the MFTs and me, just step up and step out, And after Solo finishes saying that, Sami Zayn comes out and, it's announced during this promo that Sami Zayn is now officially part of the Smackdown roster. And I'm like, this makes no sense for one of two reasons. And we're going to get to it later on, But anyhow, though, Sami Zayn basically comes out and he challenges Solo Sikoa to a match for the United States Championship, Sami Zayn tells Solo Sikoa that the United States Championship is the only other championship he hasn't won or held besides the World Heavyweight Championship. And he says that Solo Sikoa ruining his opportunity on Monday actually took a huge weight off his shoulder, and he thanked Solo Sikoa for, coming in and interrupting his match. And I'm like, what are you even talking about? This man beat you up on Monday, and you're over here thanking him for it? You're like, thank you for punching me in the mouth. Thank you for kicking me in the ribs. Like, what are you talking about? Anyhow, Sami Zayn comes out and he basically, he says, thank you for ruining my match. It took a huge weight off my shoulder, and now I can focus on other things, So he basically challenges Solo Sikoa for a match for the United States Championship because he hasn't held that championship either. After this is said and done, Solo Sikoa and the MFTs then proceed to jump Sami Zayn, and they beat Sami Zayn down. It was like a 4-on-1 beatdown, Then Jimmy Uso ended up coming out to the aid of Sami Zayn. Jimmy Uso got neutralized. Then Jacob Fatu, the Samoan werewolf, Fatu. I don't even have it in me, dude. Smackdown depressed me. I don't even have it in me. But anyhow, Jacob Fatu ended up coming out for the save, and he rescued both Sami Zayn and Jimmy Uso. And this set up our main event, and it was a 6-man tag match. The MFTs versus Jimmy Uso, Sami Zayn, and Jacob Fatu. But anyways, though, here's what really bothered me about this first opening segment. It's announced that Sami Zayn is now officially part of the Smackdown roster. First of all, I'm like, who made this decision? Secondly, why is this decision being made now? What sense does it make? And thirdly, I'm like, dude, let me get this straight. You're telling me Sami Zayn turned down an offer to move to SmackDown with a guaranteed undisputed championship match from Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman offered Sami Zayn this. He turned it down. A guaranteed shot at the Undisputed Championship. Sami Zayn absolutely turned that down. Just to then go on, 2 months later, he moves down to SmackDown anyways, just to challenge Solo Sikoa for the United States Championship. What sense does this make? Does Sami just not look like a gigantic idiot doing this nonsense? Like, who's writing this nonsense? You're telling me Sami Zayn gets a guaranteed shot at the Undisputed Championship. Paul Heyman offers him that. Sami Zayn says, no way. But as soon as he gets a hint, a smell of the United States Championship, he moves to SmackDown without any offer, no nothing, just to challenge for United States Championship. A match against Solo that he's probably going to lose anyway. A match that doesn't matter in the first place. Like, what is this garbage, dude? Jesus Christ, man. Let's just move on. After this, we got our first match of the night, and it was a mid-match. It was Alexa Bliss versus Piper Niven. This was completely skippable. I don't even know what happened, There's not even much to talk about. The only thing I remember is that Alexa Bliss ended up picking up the win over Piper Niven via roll-up, and this bothered me because I'm like, you're telling me Alexa Bliss, a seasoned veteran in the game at this point, she couldn't beat Piper Niven cleanly. She had to win via roll-up. Make it make sense, dude. But after that, though, at the very end of the match, Alexa Bliss and Piper Niven and Charlotte and Chelsea Green and Alba Fire, a huge brawl breaks out, and the Secret Harvest and Chelsea Green end up leaving Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss completely laid out, completely destroyed. And that was that. After this, we got a little backstage interaction between Tiffany Stratton, Jade Cargill, and Nia Jax. And the women were just basically bickering about who's Tiffany Stratton's next opponent. Nia Jax thinks she deserves a shot. Jade Cargill said she almost beat Tiffany Stratton. She would have had Tiffany Stratton beat. Whatever. I'm like, what are you talking about? She beat you cleanly at that in the middle of the ring. What do you mean you almost had her beat? Like, what? But anyhow, though, this little backstage segment was basically, the women bickering, talking about some, I want to face Tiffy time, it's my turn to face Tiffy time. So, like, that was basically it. Anyhow, after this, we got our second match of the night, and it was Mello Don't Miz, Carmelo Hayes, and The Miz versus Faxium, Axiom, and Nathan Frazier. And this was such a fun match, and Carmelo Hayes and Faxium absolutely stole the show. Carmelo Hayes and his high flying moves. I'm telling you, dude, he hasn't been on TV for so long that I forgot how good he was in the ring. And seeing him wrestle and the sequences with him and Faxium, both Axiom and Frazier, dude, it was just great. Like, we got so many cool spots and so many cool moments, dude. The high flying moves, the quick paced action. This match was just fun to watch overall. And don't trip, don't get me wrong, The Miz absolutely did his thing too. But the highlights of this match were definitely Carmelo Hayes and Faxium, both Axiom and Nathan Frazier. But anyhow, though, at the very end of the match, The Miz ended up, tagging himself in without Carmelo Hayes' consent, and he ended up hitting the skull-crushing finale for the win. And that was that, and that was the match. But it is obvious, and it was shown that there is obvious tension between The Miz and Carmelo Hayes now. So I guess this is leading to a breakup between Mello Don't Miz. Like, the two men can't get along for whatever reason now. I don't know why, honestly, but they just all of a sudden can't get along now. After this, we got a Drew McIntyre in-ring promo. So Drew McIntyre basically came out and he was addressing the Cody Rhodes situation and why he attacked Cody Rhodes. Drew McIntyre proceeded to say that due to what he did to Cody Rhodes last week, even management don't know how long Cody Rhodes will be out of action for. Drew McIntyre then proceeds to say, you gotta take what's yours while you can. And I want the Undisputed Championship. I deserve it. I've earned it. He says he's earned it and he wants to face off for the Undisputed Championship. Drew McIntyre says that Cody Rhodes is nothing without his story. Without that title, Cody Rhodes is absolutely nothing. And Drew McIntyre says, as a matter of fact, I didn't attack Cody Rhodes last week. He attacked me. I was only defending myself. Drew McIntyre says, the match had already ended in a no contest. The bell rung. Then Cody Rhodes proceeded to push me face first into the steel post. He decided to attack me after the match. I was only defending myself. I'm not the bad guy here, but Cody, if you provoke me, I am going to be a real nightmare. And that was the whole promo, So this is definitely leading to a Drew McIntyre versus Cody Rhodes feud, stuff like that. So I guess that's pretty cool. I'm here for it. But I know good and well Drew McIntyre's not winning, so it's whatever. But Cody Rhodes is written off screen, I think he has a movie to play in, a movie to write, whatever. So that's why he's off screen, as well as Roman Reigns. So that should be fun. We'll have to see Drew McIntyre building this story all by himself for a few weeks, I guess. Anyways, though, after that, we got a pretty funny Solo Sikoa and the MFTs, as well as Street Profits backstage promo segment. Solo Sikoa basically walks up to the Street Profits and he tells the Street Profits that pretty soon they'll have to go through the MFTs if they want a shot at the tag team championships, meaning that the MFTs are going to come for the tag team championships and they're going to be the ones holding them. Montez Ford turns over to Solo Sikoa and he says, it doesn't matter if it's DIY, MFT, ABC, EBT, it doesn't matter. The Street Profits are up and we want the smoke. And he says, careful, because it's hot back here, so watch out, watch your back, watch your neck, But it was funny, though, saying it doesn't matter if it's DIY, MFT, EBT, ABC, Lakers, and 5. It was funny. Anyhow, though, after this, we got our third match of the night, and it was the Street Profits versus DIY. And this was a decent match, not the Street Profits' best match, This was kind of, I don't know. The show was already boring as is, and the crowd wasn't behind them at all. The crowd wasn't lively at all, so the show just felt boring and dull. So this didn't really add to it whatsoever. This match was decent, like I said. I'm glad the Street Profits are competing again. They're on TV and stuff like that. But overall, though, the match was pretty mid. Nothing really too memorable happened. But both tag teams, they showed up. They tried to do their thing. They tried their best to make this entertaining. It just wasn't. This show just sucked overall. And this match suffered from the show sucking, period, So anyhow, though, during this match, throughout this whole entire match, we got a lot of interferences from Candice LeRae, beating up the Street Profits as well as BFAB and stuff like that. There was a lot of interferences. And in the very end, though, Montez Ford ended up hitting his finisher, a frog splash from the heavens, for the win. And the Street Profits win the match. And it was a match for nothing. There was no stakes, no nothing. It was just cause. After this, we got a backstage promo segment from R-Truth and Aleister Black. So it seems that we have both R-Truth and Ron Killings. So the Ron Killings character isn't completely gone. It seems like R-Truth is being portrayed as someone who has a split personality disorder of some sorts. 1 second he's R-Truth, the other second he's Ron Killings. He's serious. So I'm pretty excited to see where this goes. I'm pretty happy that Ron Killings is not completely gone. I'm happy to see that R-Truth has both sides, that they didn't just completely scrap it. I hope this is definitely a new thing, that we see both the serious R-Truth and the goofy R-Truth. I hope that's where they go with it. So yeah, I'm kind of excited to see where this goes. I know I'm probably going to be disappointed in the end, but let me be optimistic, okay? It's still real to me. This is still real to me. Okay, let's move on. After this, we finally got to our main event. It was the MFTs, Solo Sikoa, JC Mateo, and Tangaloa versus Jim Uso, Sami Zayn, and Jacob Fatu. Yaramin! Fatu! 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 Dude, I don't even have the energy to do that. Jesus, this episode of SmackDown really took all the energy out of me. That's how bad it was. I'm sorry if this video is not as high energy as my other ones, but man, this show sucked. Because, like, at this point, I'm like, dude, I don't even know what I'm talking about. Like, I know what I'm talking about, but I'm like, it just wasn't good. I barely remember any of it. That's crazy. Anyhow, though, this was the match that was announced at the very beginning of the show, you know? Anyhow, though, this match was decent for what it was. It wasn't anything crazy or anything even too memorable. It was definitely watchable, but it wasn't anything to, you know, go home about, to tell friends about, or to talk about. It was just mid. Honestly, you know, it was decent. It was mid. Nothing crazy. Nothing too memorable. Like I said, we got a lot of interferences from Talatanga, and at the very, very end, Sami Zayn ended up hitting a haluva kick on Solo Sikoa for the win. And Solo Sikoa, your United States champion, yet again, eats another pinfall. So Solo Sikoa absolutely just looks weak now. You know, anybody who wants to beat up someone, just go to Solo, and it's a free one at this point. Because Solo Sikoa cannot win if his life depends on it. I'm telling you, you're a United States champion, backed up by the MFTs, Talatanga, Tangaloa, Tamatanga, Chimichanga, Lakers, and 5. Every time he has the whole MFTs, and he still can't win a match. He still can't beat anybody. He's still getting, you know, pinned. You're United States champion. Whatever, man. I'm over this. I've complained about this for way too long. I've vented and ranted about this for way too long. We're not even going to talk about this at this point. But anyhow, like I said, Sami Zayn hit a haluva kick on Solo Sikoa, and that's how Sami Zayn picked up the win. Solo Sikoa eats another pinfall. And that was your whole show. That was that. And like, if this video sounds all over the place, it's because this show was all over the place. It didn't make sense. Like I said, it was a whole lot of nothing. We literally only got 4 matches. Like, this show was just, this was probably the most skippable episode ever. Honestly, dude. This show, like I said, was a lot of nothing. Once again, another week, another episode of nothing, you know? And I'm going to have to rate this show a solid 3 out of 10. A generous 3 out of 10. I'm taking 1 point off just because we didn't get 5 matches. We usually get 5 matches. We lost the match, so they lose a point, you know? Anyhow, though. Anyways, though, like I said, this show was not memorable at all. And once again, we watched another episode of WWE, another episode of SmackDown where nothing changed, nothing changes, or no stories get advanced, nothing. This was just pointless and it was a waste of time. Like I said, I'm rating it a solid 3 out of 10. Okay? And that was that. That was your week's episode of SmackDown. Quite disappointing, honestly. This sucked. This was bad, man. Now that I'm thinking about it, this was really bad. Like, this really took the energy out of me. Jesus. But anyhow, though, that was my breakdown and my review of this week's episode of SmackDown. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for hearing me out, and thank you for being here. Like, comment, and subscribe if you want to. Like, comment, and subscribe if you'd like to. And like, comment, and subscribe if you choose to. As always, it's been a pleasure. I'm out.